And you're welcome back to Morning Express. Now, for the last interview segment of the program this morning, we're being joined by Professor James Agajo, who is a renowned academic and researcher with over 21 years of experience in telecommunication and computer engineering. Now, he specializes in wireless communication, AI, IoT, and 5G/6G technologies with over 150 publications and numerous global awards, including the UNITU Innovate for Impact Award 2024. A lecturer at Foot Mina and a visiting professor at multiple institutions. He's a member of several professional bodies and a consultant in ICT and oil and gas. He's traveled to 30 plus countries and is happily married with children. A very good morning to you, Professor. It's wonderful to have you join us on Morning Express. Hello, Prof. Please, can you check if you are muted from your end? Hello,
Okay, thank
Professor
you.
Agajo, can you hear me?
Thank you.
Well, wonderful.
I
Thank
hope
you
you
so
can
much
hear
for
me.
joining us. Quite a profile here. Very, very impressive, I must say. And we are hoping to have a very robust conversation when it comes to, artificial intelligence and how it impacts different aspects of our lives. But firstly, I think when people hear of the word AI, it's something that some are familiar with, but I believe most people are not quite familiar with it, even when simplified. Do you care to take us through what this AI thing is?
Thank you very much. Please let me confirm if you can hear me very well.
Well, I can hear you a little bit faintly, but if you could sort of
Well,
speak up, I think you will
I
be
think I
clearer.
should. Okay, let me. Okay, can you hear me now?
Loud and
Let's
clear, sir.
confirm that before we get on.
Loud and clear. Carry on, sir.
Can you? Oh, okay. Thank, thank you once again. Thank you once again for having me, and it's a privilege and an opportunity to be with the family. Thanks for the introduction. It's been quite huge. I'm not a proponent of lengthy introduction, but I quite appreciate this. The world of AI is evolving. If you to go by what you just said, it's evolving, and everybody's got to do well to see how we can catch up with it. AI simply means having to adapt that human intelligence and adapt them into machines. Um, the human have the human being has an algorithm, a procedure when it comes to handling tasks, when it comes to solving problems, and these problems are usually solved on the account of what processes, feedbacks, and you take the right decisions. So if you could adapt these things, or adopt it and adapt it to machines, then it now makes machine begin to mimic humans, and then you now live by so doing you live in the human environment or domain, and you get into the machine domain, and then you could probably make the machine do much more better job than humans because of time, precision, and speed. So AI has actually come to stay. It's been used in optimizing and at the same time making the right decision for products. Most manufacturing industries and other industries are adopting AI to make sure they get better products and equally beat their competitors. So I think it's a world we should all, it's a world we should embrace, because this is just where the world is going. Thank you.
Now, one of many concerns that persons have about this AI of a thing is, how persons have claimed that it is gradually taking over jobs of persons who are creatives in a way, or even persons in hospitals. We now have automated, medical procedures. We now have artificial intelligence, artworks, and all of that. How much of a threat is AI to jobs around the world? Now, narrowing it down to Nigeria, should we be worried about AI? On the other hand,
Thank you. There's this talk about um, change is imminent. There's nothing you can do. The only thing that is permanent in life is change. The only thing that is permanent in life is change. So, as a matter of fact, there's no way you could probably have something working permanently outside change, because every other thing have their lifespan, but change doesn't have a lifespan. So, and that is what this life is all about. So, talking about AI coming to take over our jobs, that threat has been on for quite long. And there's one problem with humans. Humans have love to probably stay within their comfort zone. You don't want to say comfort zone, convenience. You don't want to move. You don't want to shift boundaries just because you probably feeling you dominating a particular zone, and there's not going to be change. And when some other competitors come and try to see how much they could better their product, then eventually make you shift ground, and that is what AI is about. When you're talking AI, talking products, people tend to get scared with regards to this issue of when they hear AI coming to take over our job. Now, let me make it fundamentally clear that AI is not about taking over our job, but it's about making us change the way we do things. The way we do things are going to change, and if it's going to change, then we have to what? Upgrade ourselves to making sure that at the end of the day, we are actually meeting up the standard. Take for example, we have processes where in the industry, or maybe in those days, you get to see some persons having to use manual labor in picking products from one point to the other. I hope you get what I'm saying.
yes, yes,
You know
I'm
what it
with you,
means,
Professor.
manual labor picking stuff from one point to the other. Now you have vehicles, you have machines that will help do that instead of humans having to bug themselves. So automatically, those persons that are into manual process will lose their jobs. But it's going to open up more jobs for others who will be ready to upskill, because the machines you have that are going to be used to move products from one point to the other are still going to be operated by humans. So the responsibility here is that the process now requires those who were actually into the process of manually picking up goods from one point to the other will probably learn to drive those trucks, or maybe know how to move those machines from, if there's a crane, a lift, and so on, to see how they can move products. So certainly a job is lost somewhere, but other jobs are open elsewhere, and those other jobs open elsewhere are going to be high paying job compared to the
But
manual one.
in
So
as much
that is
as they
what
are going to
AI
be high
actually
paying jobs,
represents.
Professor, it also requires some sort of learning and relearning on the part of persons whose jobs have been taken over by AI. In the case where these persons are perhaps too elderly to be able to learn and innovate in a contemporary way, what happens to them? That is the major concern of most people.
You see, there's this popular saying that there's no pain without gain. There's no gain without pain. No pain. We all have to sacrifice. Yourself, while going to school, before you got to this level, you probably had to go through the rudiments. You had to go through a process that actually requires you to bend down, read, work hard, make sacrifices, just aim at acquiring skills, acquiring good grades, and all of that. those stuff, those things didn't come just like that. And I think it just conformed with the fact that I said the issue of comfort zone. When you're too comfortable in a particular position or in a particular era, then you know danger is actually looming. We all need to continually upskill ourselves to see how much we can upgrade ourselves because it's a competitive world. And for the question you asked on in a contemporary environment where you probably need maybe the skill acquisition program is not readily available. You make effort. We're happy with the internet now. The internet is available for us. What you don't have within your immediate environment, you could get into the internet and begin to learn skills. And beyond that, if you really passionate about learning skills, then you get across to experts around within or outside your environment. They are there. They are there. But just that this issue of want to be comfortable and not just wanting to make extra sacrifice. Let me tell you one truth. The advanced technologies in the world, where the countries where you see some of these things happening on daily basis, on weekly or monthly basis, you get to see them coming up with trainings, different experts, and people pay for them to go and get 2 weeks training, 3 weeks training. It's not about having to say you have a degree. After 4 5 years, you have a degree, then you go to sleep. No. On weekly basis, on daily basis, ourselves, that are professors, we go for trainings because some of the things we probably learned way back might not be in tandem with the present era. So you need to add to top up what you have so as to be relevant. So I think it's a wake up call for everyone. We all have to be on our toes if we want to be relevant as a people, as a country, and whatever. Because it's a competitive world now, even in products, most of the items, the device you used, be it the phone, laptop, cars, and so on, they don't sleep because if you sleep one night, it's another generation that will probably shut down your industry, your factory, when another competitor
So there's
gets
need
some
for
new
that
ideas.
innovation and all.
And
Now, Professor Agajo, you are a renowned academic, and if you remember when Chat GPT came into the picture, it was notorious, or students became notorious for using it for assignments and other purposes where they just throw in a question to Chat GPT. It downloads a list of answers, it writes essays for them, writes tests for them and all. And as at then, most of them will just copy Chat GPT's answers verbatim and submit to the lecturer or the professor or whoever is in charge. And that became a very big issue of concern.
hello, can you hear me?
Well, I
I
can
can't
hear you
hear you
loud and clear.
anymore.
Did you get my question?
Yeah. I heard you the last moment you went
Okay,
off, but
I
I
was
heard you
talking
talking
about
about ChatGPT.
ChatGPT and how some students were notorious for using it to solve some, academic questions, write essays or even tests and all. And most times they just copy out the answers ChatGPT has given to them verbatim and submit to either the professor or the lecturer and all of that. What do you make of that? And how did you perceive it back then? And what is your perception of it right now?
Yes, we all are embracing ChatGPT now. Why? Because it's making job easier. But the threat is that it's a threat to creativity. It's a threat to maybe your personal confidence in carrying out a task and all of that. But I think for me, ChatGPT is just a guide. Just a guide. It's not about it's just 20% or 30% you. The 70% still lie on you actually showing up your or displaying your skill. ChatGPT ordinarily is an era too that has come and it has come to stay. And beyond that, we need to see how much we can make let's say in the academics, how much we could make uh, our students ideas come out original. We want to see, so we like to see original. We have tools. We have tools for detecting jobs actually copied on the account of ChatGPT, and these tools will expose whoever is probably using ChatGPT. All you just need to do is, with regards to academics, as you just mentioned, we have tools that will actually expose students. All you just need to do is to, if your student submit an assignment or whatever you said, the project and all of that, is we have tools we use in verifying if it's copied or not, and sometimes most often they are penalized. Most professors, I think, are aware of that. That you don't just go to ChatGPT. ChatGPT could actually help in giving you a guide, just like Google before now. You go to Google, get information, because everything is not going to come up from your head, and now you begin to align it with your thinking. So um, it's an aid. It's a way of aiding you towards packaging your work very well. But the most important aspect here is originality. Most people see ChatGPT as a threat to originality, and I can assure you that there are tools for checking all of that, the plagiarism, similarity index, and so on, so as to know if you actually copied everything verbatim. So that I must I can tell you for free
Well,
that there
Professor.
are tools for detecting that.
Well, Prof, let's move away a little bit from the academics and touch a little bit on defense and our military and the usage of artificial intelligence in curbing the fight against insecurity across the country. We had a recent statement made by the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, where he cited that the Nigerian military is set to engage the services of local arms manufacturers in the fight against insurgency. One statement that was not well received by many Nigerians, who argued that instead of focusing on local arms manufacturers, the Nigerian military could have been focusing on, garnering sophisticated artificial intelligence weaponry that could aid in the fight against insurgency. What are your thoughts on this, and how do you think AI can help our military in combating insecurity?
I think we refuse to do what we ought to do long time ago to advance the cause of our local technology. We've been a nation that has been for very long dependent on foreign technologies, and unknown to us, that whatever technology you adopt cannot be 100%, could probably not 100% align with your environment, because the environment is whatever you have, you need to characterize your environment. Characterize your environment for whatever you're doing. There are some wood or whatever you burn, you set fire on in the UK, and when you bring them to Nigeria, the way they will burn is quite different from the way to burn in the UK. So that's telling you that the environment, there are environmental peculiarities. So if we had taken up this challenge for quite some time, we will have been able to develop homegrown technologies that will be able to take care of our immediate problems, and that becomes another source of foreign exchange for us, because we now have enough and start exporting to other countries. But for long we've been so dependent on foreign foreign aids, foreign technologies and ideas. We never saw any reason that deep to develop our local technologies, and today we are in for it. And look at what is happening in this era of AI and artificial intelligence. Talking about going to look for local hunters and all of that will not really sound too good, because it sounds a little bit frustrating in the sense that Those ones will just will have come as we need them anyway, but they should be at the lower arm of the ladder
At the lower
because
level?
we have arm of the ladder. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, Professor.
Hello,
Carry on.
let me confirm if you can hear me.
I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay. So, actually, I'm not saying that. I'm not disputing the fact that we don't need the the locals when it comes to, because you use them for information gathering and all of that. But in terms of warfare, it's all about technology today. A country's strength is now measured in terms of technology, not even in terms of size of the country or population anymore. Technology, you can see little Israel and what technology they just boast on. In terms of agriculture, in terms of welfare, in terms of medics and so on. So likewise, Nigeria, that's what we should be embracing. We have very, very large population and of a group that will actually drive this thing. I will have close to 70% new population that will help drive this thing. This era of AI and emerging and future technology that is actually on now. We all need to sit down and together and see what we can do. Now, for the warfare you're talking about, there are humans don't fight war that much now. It's machines that fight war. If in case you for it's a known fact, we all know it's machines that fight war. It's about you sit down on the drawing table, on the drawing board, and plan. You plan war based on technological your technology, your equipment, the weight of your equipment. With AI, drones can be used at different points in time, and there could be renaissance drone that could get information so as to secure our military. All of we've been having occurrences where we suffer, our military suffer issues of what you call double cross, or you call this
Sabotage?
web information about them. Come again?
Information sabotage?
Even yeah, information sabotage, where the information gets to the enemy that they are coming, and they suffer being double crossed by the enemy.
Like an
There are
ambush.
technologies for that now. Ambush, yes, and so for ambush, you get to see. So there are equipment now that will outrightly tell you where you're going. You understand your terrain. That the possibility of casualty will be very, very low. And these drones are fitted with AI-based tools that can interpret what the kind of armories they carrying, the kind of the armament and all of that. So it's a technological war. If you get to see what is happening in Ukraine and Russia today, you will marvel at the kind of equipment they're using. And when we're talking about just locals, no, it's not it at all. If we had deployed technology the way it ought to, we would have long put insurgency behind us. But I think it's not too late to start embracing it. It's our pertinent advice to the military that please we need homegrown technological solution for the present security problem we have now, so as to be able to nip it in the bud.
Now, Prof, one of the things that I had discussed with our newspaper reviewer here in the studio before you joined virtually is an attack that recently took place in Damboa in Borno State, where the investigations show that the insurgents, the Boko Haram insurgents, had launched that attack about 25 kilometers from the military camp, where they deployed a drone technology. It was like a missile that hit the Nigerian military camp, and these are sophisticated weaponry. If you will agree with me, the Nigerian military
Yes.
has enough funding to be able to acquire such sophisticated weaponry. Don't you think so? And why do you think that we are not utilizing this in war-torn areas like the northeastern part of the country, particularly in Borno State, to fight insurgency and quell it to the very latter?
I'm happy. I'm happy you talking. the way you talking now, because sometimes when you see some attacks, though I'm not in the military, I want to give it to our military. They make sacrifices on our behalf, and we can't appreciate them enough for some of the sacrifices they've made. But sometimes when you get to hear some fallouts, as in information about what's happening, you tend not to be happy with some things, because the military to a great extent enjoy funding from the federal government, and the insurgents, well, they don't have a pattern. We don't know where they're getting their funding from, but there's no way we could compare those funding with an organized one from a government. So when you see some of these things happen, you begin to wonder how now they've been able to up their game. They equally deploying drones too, but we have anti-drone aircraft. It's been deployed in Ukraine. It's been deployed in what do you call it? Russia, Israel, what have you? Where they bring down drones. And aside that, um, there's this thing you do when you censor an entire area. If I begin to talk about some technical terms now, where you have some
Like a
device like
no flight zone.
wireless sensor networks
Okay.
will be deployed to help. Wireless sensor networks, that's a network of sensors that will what be thrown around a geographical region, and they will be communicating to a particular base. These are some of the technologies we're talking about. Spread wireless sensor networks around. They are very very tiny units. Spread them around an area, and they'll be constantly feeding you with the information about the events in that area. Even if those areas are hazardous terrains where human beings cannot stay, you have them there, and they'll be mining information for you. So you have to get you getting state and the status of an environment as maybe 50 kilometers away from you, 40 kilometers away from you at any point in time. So you don't even need to wait for the battle to be taken to your doorsteps before you could react. So some of these things are not, something we are always reactive, not proactive. We're not proactive. So the only one being brought to our doorstep, we begin to wake up. That's why I actually give it to countries like America, the US. The US will never allow a battle to come to their doorstep. They get to wherever you are and crush you there. So you never even imagine taking the fight to their place. So now we should be thinking beyond this. It's really humiliating to hear that an army base, a military base, is being attacked. And what becomes of us if a military base is now the point of attack? So I think we need to do more. We need to do more by deploying technologies, more drones, more counter drone measures, and information gathering with the aid of technology. Sensor networks, tiny fly drones that will go and giving us status of what is happening. We need a station that is constantly meant for analyzing information about the areas within us, so I will get to know the status, where the enemy is coming from, and how to probably stamp them out. So technology, it is with AI you can interpret the kind of weaponry. With AI you can see. Let me tell you the truth. There are machines you use now, like machines you use now that you probably don't even need humans to operate them. Looks like your drones, even on land, on terrestrial environment, and equally in the air. That they go there, even if the
Maybe
machine suffer
you
casualty,
just
there's
need
no human
humans on the back end, probably in the control center, to be able to
back
give
end.
send out commands
Beautiful,
to the
beautiful.
drones to
Doing
carry
the
out
control, so I
these
could reduce
commands.
these casualties. I feel for them when we hear our gallant soldiers actually being falling. They have families too, so my heart goes to their families. So painful. But please, we need to do more, because if we just sit down and talk, this thing is going to consume us someday. So we really need to take it very
Now,
seriously.
Prof,
Thank
let's
you.
move away from the northeast and go to the northwest, where banditry and kidnapping is the order of the day. And I'm sure you're not unfamiliar to this name, Bill Loturji, a huge bandit kingpin in the northwest, in Zamfara, Katsina, and the rest, that has consistently, alongside other bandits, made videos, uploaded these videos on TikTok, on social media, and the rest. And till to this day, the Nigerian military is still on the hunt for Turji and his cohorts, even though some level of success has been recorded in the fight against banditry. But in your position as a telecommunications expert, and someone who is tech savvy and well knowledgeable about it, don't you think that maybe if a video is uploaded online, there could be some sort of back end technology that can be used to track where this video was posted from, and in that way apprehend some of these bandits? What are your thoughts on this, Prof?
Thank you very much. To be frank with you, we are not doing enough. We are not doing enough. That's why, if we really ready and we have the will, we have what it takes to track down these people. For most of their operations, you get to see some embarrassing stories. You get to hear some embarrassing stories about what they do. Do you know that it got so bad that bandits started paying, receiving money at some point via bank transfers? So I don't think we need some kind of very very high tech technology to carry out our investigation to know where it's coming from and where it's going. So it's about the will. Now there's what we call geolocation, geographical location, where you could converge and narrow down to a particular point, from infinity to a point, to seeing where a particular transaction actually started from, whether by way of communication, and equally this other one you talked about, because this thing was actually uploaded from somewhere, and the concept of internet protocol is equally there. There's an IP, so two ways. Whatever gateway is being used to send this thing out can be what located and at the same time identified. Then you begin to what? You begin to isolate this thing to a particular cluster. Then you advance your your investigation, because then what you do, because when you carry out investigation, initially the sample size is very very high, the space, then you begin to what narrow down as you begin to get more and more facts about where to isolate this problem to. When you get it isolated, then at some point you now begin to develop locals, they involve locals as well, because you are narrowing down, getting clues. But in our own case here, we get to see some lack of that will to, when you desperate about something, you want to get to the end. Ours here is, you get to a very reasonable point when it comes to investigation. Then at some point, you just see the whole thing watered down, and it's business as usual. With the concept of like even the vehicles, some of them used, and at some point you get to see military men chasing them and get some of these whole of these vehicles. These vehicles have identification numbers. You get to know their source, get to trace where it came from, get to trace the history
But
of these
most
vehicles,
times these
and
vehicles
there
are
and
just
then
burnt to
you are
ashes.
isolating and narrowing down your search.
Well, Prof, did
Come
you
again?
did you get my point? Well, I said most of the times
Okay, I'm
when
hearing
the
you now.
military apprehends these vehicles, they are being burnt to ashes instead of proper investigations being taken through to identify the sources of the vehicles. That is wrong, isn't that? Isn't it?
Initially, this process started not too long ago. Initially, we had this opportunity of getting these vehicles, but you see, Maybe later on they got to know that yes, the vehicle might be a link towards getting them and so on. But initially, when this issue started, some of these vehicles were used and abandoned, and we couldn't take advantage of that way back, maybe earlier before 2015 and so on. And then you'll have stamped them out before they grow and become monsters. But apparently, I'm aware quite well that some of these things, when they do them, when they carry out their nefarious activity, they burn this thing off so as they break the link. But beyond that, even the vehicle or what have you, there are some other forensic measures you can take to narrowing down these things. The phones they use, the calls they make, it goes through different processes. We have a telecommunication network that is actually that has the entire map of Nigeria. So where a call is coming from, the last call they made, the last history of the calls can be taken, and you narrow down to where they are. Then when you get that cluster, then you have men who specially are trained for that, who could go on the ground, mimic and talk as if they are incongruent with what these people do, and before you know it, you're getting them. But I don't see that power, that determination to stand this thing out in a hurry. The military is trying, but we need to ask that we do more. You are aware of the NIMSI project that was well thought of, talked about Nigerians made sacrifice to go and get national identity card numbers and
And
so
then
on.
link it to their
But
BVN,
but
their
today,
phone
what has come
numbers,
on?
and
What
all
has
of
become
that.
of it?
I remember the whole situation then.
Link, yeah, yes. So how much of the NIMS? Yes, yes, we all suffered it here, but we just felt yes. That's one thing I like Nigerians for. Um, if there's something that's going to benefit the nation, no matter the pains, we're ready to sacrifice. But when we're not seeing results, certainly people complain. So we don't know what's happening. Ordinarily, there's supposed to be questions asked, because some of them said when this thing is done, it will reduce um, criminality to a very high extent. But today, where are we? It's really not encouraging. So,
Now,
and
now,
people,
now, now,
families
now
are really
Professor
paying dearly for it.
Professor Agajo, 9 billion naira e-border project by the federal government is one that has failed to stop
Yes.
bandits and other aliens from infiltrating into the country, as the porosity of our border has, given way to more than 5,000, borders, unmanned borders across the country, all around. With 9 billion naira, why do you think that our borders are still not well animated, or well manned in such a way that there are checks for persons who are not legally allowed to come into the country, infiltrating the nation?
I don't think, I don't think, I don't think, I know quite well that our borders are quite lengthy in terms of um, length, but I don't think our borders are much more compared to some other countries that have been able to manage their borders. And what is it they've used? What is it they've used? Is what the question is all about. There are some other countries that are even of higher attraction than than Nigeria. People want to go there at different point in time. They want to be in those such countries at different point in time. But um, they manage, or they've been able to secure their borders to a great extent. You cannot secure a border 100%, but you probably will come up with very, very good strategies at making sure that you secure your borders. Immigration, custom, and all of that need to wake up. We need to understudy other economies and see how they are able to man their borders. And again, there's this um, notion at some point in time when we heard that some border border towns could have people of the same origin or the same tribe or the same tribe on both sides of the border. So it's like
Like in the
it's a
case of
borderless
Nigeria and
community.
Cameroon, or even Nigeria and Benin Republic.
Yes, 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 yes. So people speak the same dialect on this point, on this part of the border. Others speak the same dialect on this part of the border. Please, the border is a dividing line. Even if you are my sister, you are my cousin, and you're from the other side, it should be well spelled out for the purpose of documentation and equally identification. Some of these laxities are what giving rise to some of these things, because when some of these foreigners come and they speak some the same whatever same dialect with those on the other side of the border, they want to have that right that they can come in, and some of them are not be documented, and you see this happen. I think the government have to take care of that very well. All these border towns with tribes that are the same. So please, if you're in
Prof,
Nigeria, let's know you're in
when you
Nigeria.
say
Let's
the
spell.
government needs to take care of these borders very
We've
well,
learned our lesson.
when you say the government needs to take care of these borders, many persons might misconstrue your words for more manpower, or perhaps more military presence or police presence
Yeah, no,
within
I'm
these
coming there.
borders.
I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay,
Yes, I'm
carry
not
on,
done.
carry
I'm
on.
not done yet. I'm not done yet. I'm not taking. I'm not done yet. I'm not taking them one after the other. So I'm not saying this analogy is equally plain. That's one. Then two, immigration. Well, I'm not fully detailed on the kind of equipment and device they use in detecting and at the same time manning these borders. There's need to employ technologies that will what? Sign or give early warning or signals about intruders going through a particular part of the border. Even if they can, it's not possible to place men around the border perimeter and
Well, it appears we have a little bit of a connection issue there with Professor. We'll hope to get back to him in just a short while we wait for Professor to come back
okay,
to.
hello, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Oh, all right, fantastic.
Can you
Carry
hear
on,
me?
Prof. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Okay, so yeah, we're talking about the borders. We're talking about the borders.
Yes.
So there's need to deploy technologies and device. This is my candid advice now, because I know quite well that it's not possible to place men around the entire perimeter of the borders, because it's quite much. So there could be sensor techniques that could help us give signals on whoever is coming in, like we have in the US borders. If you're coming in and you're coming through a particular spot, it automatically gives message, send the message back to the control room that there are intruders here and these are their routes. So it will be easy to isolate and get them. You get them and probably interrogate and all of that. And your investigation can continue from there. But to do this too, we need this issue of manpower. Manpower is a very big challenge for the border issue. There's no doubt about that. Manpower, and again, you should understand that this era of insecurity, there's a manpower both as the immigration unit and at the same time the military and police to help secure personnel, because some of these people that came with malicious intent might probably want to come attacking those who will probably be monitoring them. So what happens? We need manpower to secure even those who are going to carry out the immigration checking exercise and so on, so as to be able to reduce the amount of influx of illegal immigrants. That is actually what we're suffering for long. We've neglected it for so long, and now the consequences are here. They've gotten into our country and causing a whole lot of damages and problems. I remember the last holiday here, Christmas, New Year, people were just traveling with fear. Those who had to travel, some probably did not want, just jettison the plan of traveling because of fear. No airport, some couldn't afford flight tickets and so on. So
Now,
it's actually changing our dynamics. And
now,
okay,
Prof,
come
how
on,
about the
come
use
on.
of IoTs in the borders? You have touched on customs, you've touched on immigration, and the need for increased manpower and all of that. Can that can also or always alert when someone crosses every border, and it might be easier and cheaper than personnel's being manned there. Do you subscribe to this line of thought to improvise with the usage of IoTs?
When I talked about technology, IoT is actually the bane of technology I'm talking about. If I'm to mention items here, we might probably not live here. There are so many items we could pick on. IoT is one most outstanding technology we could deploy. In as much as we still need more personnel, because you with IoT you have sensors around, and these sensors are going to be what picking information about whatever is coming in and probably going out and all of that, and convert all these items to the cloud, and there you could be carrying out monitoring and equally um, decision making, making the right decision on how to go, what square up these people, and probably interrogate them. What is it they're doing? Do they have right to be here or not? So you can see it's really a very big task. Even in the other aspect, IoT plays a very big role. Well, you heard me talk about wireless sensor network. That sensor network is actually at the bottom. That is where you collect data from, and now use IoT infrastructure to to send it across to remote areas, so I can remotely monitor. So this is what we call geolocation remote monitoring. You monitor a particular geographical location with the aid of these technologies, wireless sensor network, IoT, and at the same time you could equally infuse AI so as to be able to interpret the kind of weaponry. So right there you'll be able to know what kind of weapon, the weaponry, that's the kind of weapon actually they actually using at any
So,
point
so,
in
so
time.
as so as to better
So
know how to intercept them accordingly.
you're right.
All right, Prof. We have just about 5 minutes or so to wrap up the conversation. And off of security, there's something that I want you to touch on. Well, about 10 minutes, but there's something I would want you to touch on, which is very pertinent, and that's the issue of elections in the country. For a very long time, we have always known elections to be an issue of ballot papers and all of that, and that has caused a lot of issue nationwide, where you have ballot snatching and the rest. In your position, how do you think technology, the usage of technology, especially artificial intelligence, can come in helping some sort of digital electioneering, where persons don't have to use paper ballots, but rather just mere thumbprints is enough?
You can see me smiling.
I can see that, Prof. I can see you're optimistic about it. So please, fire
Well,
away.
well, you can see me smiling. You see, these are domain ordinarily I would love to talk about anywhere, but talking about it here and in Nigeria, I will probably have to laugh a little bit, because it is very, very clearing and very clear that whole lot of players in the political cycle will not want to subscribe to this idea at all. They don't want to subscribe to this idea at all, because at some point some persons might probably not be comfortable with that, but they are for obvious reasons, which um, some persons have their techniques and tactics of coming to win when it comes to election, winning election, and
Yes.
they will want you to come and change the
The
dynamics.
old status
And if
quo
you
that we
come
all
with,
know of.
so your guess is as good as mine.
All right,
But
Prof.
in talking about the technology now, perfect. We have good enough technology to handle this very well that you will almost have zero tolerance to failure. You understand? But you see, technology is one, the will is the second to
Yes.
carry it out. So it's a problem for us. Um, when election process are on and is made electronics, it's easy. Look at the banking sector today. Way back, remember way back when we used to go to the bank to cash money. It's not even easy for you to transfer money from one point to the other. But today, as you're sitting there, you could sitting down there, you immediately send you could send money cash as by way of transfer to
Yes.
people. In the same way the electoral process can go swiftly without any problem because our fingerprint here, no two persons have the same fingerprint. That is one means of identification.
That is correct.
So yes, so that one alone can work it out for you at the point of um, when we vote accreditation. No two persons can be accredited twice. No one person can be accredited twice. Sorry, and all of that. So that thing can be distinguished. I don't know if there's any problem. Then we have a server there at the back end that will be collecting this information, and this information will be monitored real time. The counting is real time, the collation is real time, and the results. So I don't know where someone is going to come out and say we will be having less of these court cases. Actually, looking for how to maybe you have less of court cases because since these things are transparent, you don't need to approach the court because from the very level of the polling booth, you
And I mean,
are
technology is almost 100% accurate most of the time.
there's no two ways about it. No two ways about it. But here we are. People are comfortable with going to court. I don't know for what reason. And it's gradually, I think a couple of days ago, I heard somebody telling me that he's of the view that when it's time for election, all the contestants should just come together and go to court. Let the court decide who will win instead of having to
There's no
waste
need going through the rigors of electioneering because
rigors. Yes, because
it
we're
always
still going
ends
to
up
end
in
up there.
court, election tribunals.
Good. We see. We're still gonna end up there in the tribunal. So why not just go to tribunal? Let the tribunal declare the winner, so that we save money for ourselves and our time as well. So please, when it comes to technology, technology is the way to our electoral process. There's no two ways about it. So
One
I
thing
tell you,
that many Nigerians wonder, Prof, is a typical Nigerian has multiple ID cards, means of identification. A typical Nigerian could have a driver's license, the
yes,
national ID card, voter's
yes,
card, BVN,
yes,
a phone number.
yes.
The list is endless. Yet, when it comes to electioneering, they will still need to use a paper ballot to cast their votes when they
Right,
already have a
right.
thumbprint that could be used electronically. Does this disturb you as much as disturbs me, Professor?
Look, really, it embarrasses me. It's not about the disturbing. It embarrasses me. It's an embarrassment that with all of these opportunities available, we still not deploying the use of technology that much. You see, the last election, what happened? I don't know. You talked about the INEC came up with
Beaver?
the the IRF and
The
Beavers,
IRF, yes.
and very excellent idea, but at the end of the day, it was jettisoned, and voters' apathy and confidence in trouble. So I think INEC needs to do more, to be frank with you, because the confidence in the voter is what is suffering now. Because most persons might tell you, no, I don't believe in the process anymore. It has to be electronically what proven before we can accept. And one good thing about adopting technology in our voting system is that you get to see your results right on point. From your word there, you see what's happening, and you getting information about other words.
In
So
in
there is
in
no
re-
go
in real
between that will
time.
actually come again.
In real time.
Real time,
Yes.
yes, real time. So you get to see your performance right there in the field as a candidate who is probably contesting. And if you see you get that, you get the information in real time, there will be no need for you to go to court or probably begin to ask call for tribunal and so on and so forth. So it's really important we take this very seriously.
All right, Professor James Agajo, I must thank you so much for finding the time to come on the program. It's been a very engaging conversation with you this morning on Morning Express. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right.